attention. A friendly reminder as we begin our recording that this meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission Meetings YouTube page. So please avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like to be made public. Thank you.
That message is for you, Caroline. With your sharing of information all the time. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start. Well, Ashley Blow is here from Project Peace to give us the presentation we requested on No Wrong Door. We'll get right to that. But as you can see, Janine is in a car with the sunny skies of Texas behind her. She has some updates about WOV. I told her to kick us off, be quick, and then we'll jump into the presentation. You can ignore what's going on here. It's not contagious. It's a absolutely unrelated complication to something. Anyway, so apologize for my pirate look. And Janine, are you ready?
Matey, I am ready.
Oh, sorry.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry. We do have a guest, but if it's okay, Janine, we'll do introductions after you're done. That way, if you need to kick off.
Okay, yeah. Well, to anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Janine. I've been on the commission for a long time, and I'm sillily enough in charge of the Women of Vision event for this year. I don't know why they keep asking me to do it, but here I am. So just wanted to go through a quick rundown. I'll go through the rundown, and if you have questions, I'll answer them at the end, or at least try to pretend I know what I'm talking about. So first things first, congrats again to the nomination committee. We have our 3 honorees for this year. For if you haven't seen the press release, hopefully everybody has, but just for the record, we have for a business honoree, we have Valeria Lopez for her work as a senior business coach at the Latino Economic Development Center. For government, we have Monica Lozano Caldera for her work as a diversity, equity, and inclusion coordinator at the Arlington and her programs for teens at Arlington Public Schools. And in the nonprofit category, we have Paula Finbo and for her work as CEO and leading and growing the Aspire After School Learning Program. So thank you again to the nominations committee for going through and selecting the
Janine, Janine, sorry to interrupt. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Oh, it looks like your video is frozen. If you want to, you can go ahead and turn off your camera if you wanted to.
I will.
That's
okay. Can you guys hear me though?
Yeah, I think that improves the sound.
Yeah. You want me to turn it up or?
Okay, perfect. Okay. Did you guys hear the nominees?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So since we last met, we also secured our location. A big thanks to Arbra for helping with that. We are going to be this year at East West Cafe. It's right on the corner of North Highland Street and Wilson Boulevard in Clarendon. So pretty much directly across from the metro. There's no garage parking, so we're going to make sure that we give really good parking instructions, just so that nobody gets lost and everybody knows where it is. And I think Lisa had also mentioned, I believe, that it takes you to different places depending on whether you're using Google Maps or Apple Maps. So we want to make sure that everybody knows exactly where it is, and we give really clear instructions. We have 51 people registered as of about 10 minutes ago. And if you guys have not shared with your networks, there's an Eventbrite and a Facebook invite. Both of them go to the same spot, and I'll drop those into the chat. Well, actually, I won't, because it's only like me and Marguerite that will have access to the chat. But if you don't know where to find that information, let me know and I'll send it over. As far as sponsorships go, we are in really good position. We've raised about $1,200, and going into this event, we had about Courtney sent me the number and I meant to pull it up before this, but it was, I think, a little over $3,000. So we're looking really good on finances. But if we can raise another couple $100, that will not hurt. And of course, we'll have some money that we raise the night of. We have, so I guess I should have rephrased that. We have pledged $1,200, but we've only received, I think, about 600 of that. So the rest of it's pending. I've got, pledges in the mail. Some people are going to bring their money that night. But a lot of returning sponsors such as Azizi Flowers, the AUW, which is the Arlington Association of University Women. I have it written right here. Of course, we have Marguerite, who's always supported this event, and a lot of in-kind donations coming back as in like Caroline, myself, and one of our cafe that we're having the event at too is also being kind enough to donate the food. And they're just charging us for the venue space again, and that's $2,000. So more expensive on the venue side, but we're saving a lot of money on the food, and they're being very flexible and really generous with their space and their time. All right, so that, yeah, so and if you have not been there for coffee or a snack, it's delicious. So it's got a very Turkish vibe to it, and so the coffee, is very yummy. As for run of show for the night, it's going to be very similar to past years. I'll be sending out an email next week for assistance with helping set up and break down. For setup, I need people to be there about between 5 and 5:30. It shouldn't take us too long, but I want to make sure that we have a lot of time. Normally we have people trickle in anywhere starting between 6:30, and even though the event starts at 7, so I want to make sure that we're set up and ready to go for however early people start to come into the event. Back this year, big thanks to Gender, we're going to be having the Girl Scouts help with registration, so that will free up everybody to be able to hopefully enjoy themselves and not have to sit at the table. And then the program will go opening remarks. We'll do our awards presentation for the 3 winners, the special presentation for Project Peace, celebrating their 25 years of serving Arlington, and then closing remarks. I said we have 51 people registered so far. I'd like to see that number get up to like 150. I'm going to send out 2 more emails blasts before the event to our contacts, and please make sure you're sharing that with your network as well. The 51 registered is pretty normal for an event like this and being free, and given that we're a couple weeks out still. I'm working on editing the photos, and if anybody's interested in assisting with other things for the event, on my to-do list, I still have to do the slideshow for the event, the program for the event, parking instructions, if anyone's good at that and wants to help. And yeah, so if you're interested in helping with any of that, just shoot me an email and I'll tell you what to do, or let me know what your capacity is and I'll let you know what you can help with. Probably forgetting something, but I'll stop there. And if you guys have any questions, please ask them now.
Janine, did you, sorry if I missed this, did you hear from Parissa? She said she would donate $250 on Matt. Did you get a check from Matt?
We got Matt.
Okay.
And no, you didn't miss this. I have not heard anything from Parissa, but I'll write it down just as a note.
$250, and I have not heard back from her. Did anyone reach out to Barbara Favola, Senator Favola? Do you want me to do that? Okay. I will reach out to her because she was a big proponent of Project Peace. So,
okay.
Thank
you.
I have someone who can help the Girl Scouts with like exchange students.
Oh, nice.
What else was I going to ask? No, that's it. Maybe I'll remember later.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Janine.
Yeah.
I assume thank you to Ivan for driving the car safely while you presented.
I'm actually being driven by the OG Ivan. Ivan Sr. is driving me, and it's his birthday tomorrow. So.
Yeah, the senior. All right.
Caroline?
Yeah.
Caroline, if I may, just want to say a quick thank you to the selection committee, those that volunteered their time to read all the nominations and go through the selection. Barbara, Grace, Lisa, Sasha joined me in doing it. We have a great number of nominations this year. And we have already mentioned to Janine, we do want to get a few more in the government category, but really was a good turnout in business, nonprofit, government. And so thanks to everybody who participated.
Oh, I know.
Thank you guys so much.
I know what else I wanted to say. Speaking of the nominees. So I volunteered to take the most fun job after that, which is like notifying the winners and the people who nominated the winners. So I've had it back and forth with our public sector. The person who nominated our public sector winner who works, she's pretty sure she's an APS teacher. She works with students at Arlington Tech Career Center. And apparently she does an assembly for her students every Monday where she highlights their achievements. And so the person who nominated her asked if we would come and like present her award. So I said, yes, I'm sure one of us would be able to swing that, but it would have to be after the award ceremony. So if somebody who has flexibility on Mondays is interested in doing that, and then Jania, I don't know if we should try to like save something to present there, just ask her to bring it on that Monday or what. Anyway, I didn't commit to anything, but I said that's a lovely idea. We'll get back to you.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I like it too. So
I'm happy to help however I can. But I think spring break for Arlington School is falls the week after. So it'd have to.
yeah, it would be after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as long as we're sharing positives, real quick, I took the task of sending individual emails to the nominees who didn't win, telling them who nominated them, congratulating them for at least being nominated. And I told them who the winners were. This year, first time ever, one of the nominees who didn't win wrote back to me, not only thanking me and thanking the person who nominated her, but she talked about how wonderful our winners were. She had interactions with each of the three of them, knew of their work, and she was so positive about the selections we made, which is a rare thing for a person who didn't win to be that supportive. Just wanted you all to know that.
That's so awesome.
That's very gracious.
Feel goods get me every
And
time.
I love that you do that, Marguerite. I know that is not an easy task to go through and write to them all. And I really appreciate that you do that every year. I think it's a really nice touch to know that, for them to know that even though they weren't selected as one of the three, that they were being recognized in their community for that. Because I do not envy the nomination committee. You guys do an amazing job every year. And Lord knows I can't make a decision. I'd be like, everybody wins.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Okay, so save up your questions and any add-ons for the end of the meeting. And we're gonna turn it over to Ashley Blow, who's gonna present to us about No Wrong Door. And actually, just to give you some background, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago, we had a guest join. And she was actually asking us about resources and stuff. She had some personal issues, and Arbor had just been at one of the Project Peace executive meetings and had in her purse, I think, one of the No Wrong Door pamphlets. And we all started talking and realized that some of us know more, or maybe have been around for a lot longer and know about the resources in Arlington. And then when you guys sent out the flyer too about the training, I was like, this is too perfect to not ask you guys to come, give us a presentation, then at least level set kind of our knowledge as commissioners about the resources in Arlington, and all the good feels and stuff. So
Okay.
take it away.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait, do you want introductions first? You know who you're talking to?
No.
Nope. All right.
No, I don't know. Yes, I would like to, because no, I don't know.
So, okay, I'm Kelly Romano, Chair of the Commission.
I'm Arbora Johnson, Commissioner.
Denise Sylvester, guest, Zonta of Fairfax.
Helen Haas, student members, nice to meet you.
He
belongs to me.
Yeah. He wanted to introduce himself. I'm Ginger.
I'm Jackson, Commissioner.
Lisa Marcellus, Commissioner.
Susan Strauss, Commissioner.
And then Courtney.
And Courtney. All right.
Okay, and I brought some brochures, so I'll leave them, but left side is English, right side is Spanish, except at the top, this one is only in English. So, okay, so I am Ashley Blow. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the prevention and training specialist for Project Peace. You all are, oh, I was like, that's not me. Yeah, so Project Peace is an acronym. It stands for Partnering to End Abuse in the Community for Everyone. And we are the coordinated response to intimate partner and sexual violence for the county. Nice. There we go. So kind of a little bit about Project Peace. So we are a little different in that we do not provide direct services. So a lot of times people get us confused with Doorways, who does provide direct services when it comes to intimate partner and sexual violence for the county. But we coordinate the community response. So essentially we bring together anyone who would play a role in supporting someone who's experienced violence or harm through intimate partner and sexual violence. So I always like to say, we try to make sure that nobody takes their ball and goes to play in the corner, by themselves. So we try to break down those silos that could happen in this work. So that could be anywhere from receiving medical attention after going through an assault, to calling ECC 911, to calling the Doorways hotline, to police response. So just really coordinating all of those folks. So we kind of work up here. So a lot of MOUs and policies and procedures, right? How are we going to respond, and how are we going to have the best response when it comes to intimate partner and sexual violence for the county? I think you all probably already know this, right? So just a few stats when it comes to intimate partner violence, so IPV, and sexual violence, right? So we're looking at 1 in 4 when it comes to women, 1 in 7 when it comes to men, and these are just kind of the people that are reporting. So if we really think about it, if we had everybody that reported, these numbers would be even more drastic. I always, when I'm working, in the schools, or when I'm working with youth, I'll have them like stand up and we'll do a visual of like what that looks like statistically, right? Like if I take 1 in 4 of you, or 1 in 7. So these are a little bit outdated. We're still working on our annual report for 2025, but here are our numbers when we look at 2022 to 2024, what the crisis response for domestic violence looked like in the county. So you can see where the police responded, where folks called the Doorways hotline, our child welfare or CPS, and then forensic exam. So I know the fact, again, when someone who has experienced domestic violence or has experienced sexual violence will come for an exam. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But you can see we kind of stayed the same when we look around, when we're looking here around the forensic exams, they don't look too drastically different, and the same when we look at child welfare. But we did see an increase in police response and an increase in the hotline. So it's a little weird when we do prevention, because you never know if it's the chicken or the egg, right? And what I mean by that is, if we're doing a lot of awareness in the community, people have more access, or they know that the hotline exists and they know these services exist. Sometimes we'll see a spike in numbers, right? Or it might be just a drastic spike in numbers because we are seeing more violence in the community. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint where that's coming from sometimes. So looking at our crisis response, when we look from 2022 to 2024, we're seeing a dip when it comes to the police response, just a little bit. We're seeing a huge dip when it came to calling the Doorways hotline, and then we're seeing an uptick in forensic exams. And again, it's a little difficult to kind of pinpoint what was happening. Any questions about those things? I'm sorry, the numbers.
When you say forensic exams, are you talking about?
Sure. So
Sample, or are you talking about what's in a rape kit?
The rape kit, that's where it's coming from. So when I say the exam, anyone who went for a forensic exam, so essentially anybody who went to the hospital to be seen because of sexual violence or domestic violence. However, that doesn't mean that they did a comprehensive rape kit, right? Because when they go, they can really treat the services a la carte. So I might want someone to kind of do a body scan, but I might not want pictures. I might not want them to do DNA swabs on me. So I might just want bits and pieces. So really anyone who came to be seen. So not specifically the rape kit, but that is a part of it. That's a great question.
What is the testing size for this data? Like, does this include other counties or just Arlington?
Just Arlington. Yeah. So Project Peace, because we are within the county, we only service the county taxpayer dollars. So we stay in this jurisdiction. Now, Doorways may see other folks. I know for sure, I know VAC does see other folks in the region, but they're just collecting the Arlington numbers. So this is Arlington specific here.
So when the people go in, they have to give their address
For
for forensic exam, for the hotline.
sure. So they will ask for that information. It's not something that they have to give, right? But obviously they want to collect it for their own data, especially for the hotline. You like if you and I call and we have not been victimized or we're not a survivor and maybe we're calling for a friend or we're wanting advice how to navigate something, they don't collect, you don't have to give that information. They do at the very least when you're calling the hotline, they want your name and they want your zip code to ensure that you're in Arlington because that's who they service. But it's not, you know, if Caroline calls and says, you know, her zip code is 22026 and they find out that she's in Woodbridge versus Arlington, they'll still, you know, they'll talk to her, do a little bit of advocacy, do a little crisis response, and then do a warm handoff to the county that she resides in. So a little bit more about Project Peace specifically. So our structure is, we recently moved from 3 committees to 2. So our 2 committees really focus on one, prevention. So preventing violence before it even happens, right? So the running joke in this work is we want to work ourselves out of a job. We don't want to be doing this because we don't want it to be happening in the community or in society in general. So we focus a lot of our attention on promoting healthy relationships. Again, preventing violence. A lot of that work starts with youth is where we spend a lot of our time because it's a lot easier to change the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of young people versus those that are a little bit older. But that doesn't mean that we don't try our best to do prevention across the lifespan. So something that's come out of, you know, kind of like our prevention initiatives is our Askable Adult campaign, really ensuring every young person in Arlington County has at least one Askable Adult they can go to for things that matter to them most for support without judgment. So that was really fun to work on. And there's kind of coordinated prevention. So again, we really try our best not to work in silos. So when we look at what is going to give us the most bang for our buck, if you will, when it comes to increasing protective factors and lowering risk factors, is having that trusted adult in a young person's life. And that really gets at bullying. It gets at different forms of violence, not just IPV and SB, but also gang prevention. It's getting at mental health, wellness, suicide prevention, all of those type of things, right? So trying to figure out where that nucleus is and where we can expand some of that work. In the last couple of years, we were doing a lot of work around engaging men and boys in this work when it comes to prevention. So that has kind of taken a pause, but we're now in our new cycle for our Blueprint for Progress, which is our version of our strategic plan. It runs on a 2-year life cycle. So we've just started that, and in it, we intend on picking some of that work back up. On the response side, that's really, and that group meets once a month, and so does the response committee. The response committee really is comprised of our first responders and our service providers. So again, really thinking around policy, procedure. So things that have come out of that group are, you know, our firearm protocol, protective order protocols, our LAP, so lethality assessment protocol has come out of that group, right? Again, bringing everybody around the table to say what's going to be the best way to respond, getting everybody on the same page and acting accordingly. And then we have our ad hoc groups. Really anything that does not fit neatly into these other 2 committees is the work that happens in our ad hoc group. A lot of what we have been talking about in our executive team meetings around ad hoc group is really bringing in the voice of survivors and having that threaded in all the work that we do. So really wanting to get a survivor group happening within Project Peace, but also survivor representation at all levels. So a lot of the work that we're doing in ad hoc is, well, we're thinking around that. So it hasn't happened just yet, but that's where it's moving to. Any questions? So some of our partners, when we think about crisis response, you can see really looking at ACPD, Doorways, and if folks are not aware, Doorways is the only 24/7 service provider when it comes to domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and sexual violence for the county. They're the only one. We do have culturally specific service providers in Arlington, but they're not 24/7. So they might offer a helpline and not a 24/7 hotline. They might offer advocacy services, but they don't have the funding or they don't offer safe housing. So Doorways really is the only one. As Project Peace in the county, we do contract and assist with some of their hotline services and some of their shelter services. It's been a long week. I'm so sorry. So that's kind of where we do our work within the quote unquote direct services piece. We do have one direct service that I didn't talk about, but I can't remember if it's going to come up in this presentation. So I'll just say it now. We do, under Project Peace umbrella, we offer our partnership program, and that's also an acronym. SHIFT stands for Shaping Healthy Interactions for Tomorrow, and that is our abusers intervention program. So really working with those who cause harm to ensure that we can provide some type of accountability and behavior change. That program is, right now, as it stands, I believe it's 24 weeks, but new mandates, they're working to shift that to 52 weeks. That is going to be like the national standard moving forward. So really thinking about how they can expand that curriculum there. Anyone can kind of opt into partnership programming and its group. So they attend once a week group therapy or group treatment. But as you may imagine, no one is opting in and saying, hey, I'm causing harm, I'd like to be here. It doesn't really happen like that. What we're seeing is 99% of folks are court ordered. I used to help, when I had the capacity, help run some of the partnership groups. And the only time that I ever saw someone kind of opt into partnership was when they kind of treated it like driver's ed, not driver's ed, but driver's improvement. You know, like you get a ticket and like, let me preemptively go and like say, here's my shiny certificate. So we had a gentleman that said, you know, he was preparing for court and he wanted to have it to look good for the court. But that's the only time I've ever seen anyone kind of opt in without being told or mandated to go to a partnership group.
How many are in that right now?
I'm not sure how many groups they're running. But we do run groups in English and in Spanish, and they're gender-based. So we run them in English and Spanish for men and for women. I believe they're running groups 4 days a week. So if I had to guess, maybe they're running about 6 groups right now. And if folks are identifying as non-binary or gender fluid, they have the option to kind of self-select which group that they attend, or they can opt for one-on-one individual services. And some of the clients with more severe cases or that are requesting it are doing one-on-one sessions in addition to the group sessions. Any other questions? Okay. So again, I talked a little bit about some of the collaborative policies and protocols that have come out of our response committee. Again, our sexual assault response, lethality assessments, and our firearm response. When we think about outreach, some of the things that have come out of that or some of the things that we do are No Wrong Door initiative, our awareness months, and kind of training for the community and service providers. And I'll expand on all of those actually. So for our sexual assault response protocols, so this is really what that response looks like. And again, this came out of our response committee. So having people that are actually involved in this response around the table makes all the difference. So they came together to decide how they would respond, right? So if someone experiences a sexual assault in Arlington, right, and 911 is called, or the non-emergency ACPD number, right, we'll have an officer respond out to the scene. They'll kind of assess for that safety and the medical needs there. They'll do the interview and they'll kind of ask what the victim wants, right? So they have the autonomy to decide like, hey, yeah, I'd really like to go to I Know a Fact and get a fact exam and have a rape kit done. Or they can say, you know, I don't really want that, right? Or they have the option for the officer to call Doorways directly, and they will call on behalf of the victim, and they can kind of pass the phone, and they have an opportunity to talk to an advocate. Or they also have Doorways hotline cards on them so that they can give it to the victim as they're responding on the scene. So as you can kind of see here, right, they agree to the forensic exam. I Know the Fact is notified, right? Hey, we have somebody that's coming in. It's really important that I Know the Fact be told on the front end, because sometimes forensic exams can take up to 3 hours because they are super comprehensive, super invasive. So we never want to have a victim or a survivor waiting that long for quote unquote their turn. So just letting them know like, hey, we've got somebody coming in, so they're not waiting uncomfortably in the lobby or anything like that. The other thing is sometimes they're not there, right? So if they're responding on the scene and it's 3 a.m., right? Maybe it's after a party or who knows, and they have to respond out. They might have to get a nurse over to the hospital. And again, we don't want to have the victim waiting for someone to show up and they can't be automatically seen. The cool thing too, when we talk about transportation, ACPD is more than willing to kind of give victims a ride if they need a ride to the hospital, but also Doorways will provide Ubers. So if the victim does not have transportation, Doorways will handle that on their behalf, which is really nice.
And is that also home? I notice it says transportation to Enovafac.
Oh, to and from? Yes. They can also have a ride home. Correct.
From Uber or with the police
Yes.
wait around for.
Or they'll come back. Yeah, but typically more so people don't want to. Yeah, that's where we'll see that. And also, thanks for bringing that up, because I do want to uplift that the forensic exams are free, so a victim is never paying out of pocket for any of that, and they also provide emergency contraceptive when those exams, or they offer it rather when those exams are done. They also provide like PrEP and other HIV and STD preventative medications too. So depending on if someone believes that they were exposed or want to take that extra precaution. The other thing I will say about Inovafact as well is that forensic exams are only happening at Inova. So Virginia Hospital Center, they do not do forensic exams because they don't have the nurses there and they don't have the equipment. So they are referring people to Inovafact. In a rare cases, they might have a nurse come over from Inova to do the exam, but it really doesn't happen. Virginia Hospital Center is sending folks back over to Inova. So just something to know. And again, like I said, folks don't have to do the full exam. They can pick and choose the pieces that best suit them. Again, we really want to promote agency and empowerment, especially, after somebody has been harmed through sexual violence or intimate partner violence. The last thing that they want is to have more power exerted over them. So we're trying to get that back wherever we can.
What do you think it would take for SANES to be offered at Arlington Hospital Center, the Virginia Hospital Center?
It's a loaded question, Caroline. I feel like they've been trying to work on that for a little bit of time. They're saying that it might be coming down the pike. I'm not sure, but I believe the biggest part is the nurses, because you have to have special training and certifications.
You don't.
Oh, you don't? Not anymore?
Not legally. Not anymore.
Okay.
It's ideal to have a SANE trained nurse do it, but any doctor or nurse can do the evidence collection.
Okay. What I'm hearing what we've been told from Inovafact is like they all have the certification, and it's different than just having someone in the emergency room do the exam, because they have the specialized training and it's better for victims and survivors.
Absolutely.
But that's all I know. So yeah. That's a great question, and I appreciate that.
Also, Inova.
Say it again.
Isn't it part of the Inova group?
Hopkins.
No.
Alexandria is a Nova affiliated.
Actually, I
Yes.
have just a quick question.
Please.
Police,
Sure.
do they send female police officers or?
Whoever's responding on scene. Yeah, but the hope is that the patrol officers are all trained. So Doorways is going in and they're doing, what do they call it? I can't think of what the training is called, but they have kind of every couple months the roll call. Doorways goes into when the officers are doing roll call and they do presentations, so that they have some sort of training and, they're not sent out blindly. Is it the best and, most robust and top notch? No, but it's better than nothing, right? So that's the best time they're able to get in front of a lot of the officers and give them at least a little bit of information, because ACPD is so inundated with training. It's really hard to kind of get on their training schedule, or it's really difficult to get officers to want to do training in addition to all the other trainings that they have to do. So this has kind of become like the best marriage that, they have for the time being. Okay, so our domestic violence lethality screen, AKA the lethality assessment protocol. So this is when an officer is responding on the scene and they are assessing for lethality. So they kind of go through this. If they get a domestic violence call, if they determine after doing the LAP assessment that it's a high danger score, it's an automatic mandatory call to doorways. So they will call, they'll ask if the victim, you know, wants to speak to an advocate. They can decline, but they'll also offer shelter, safe housing, at least for that night, because if they're scoring high danger, it's very unlikely that they will be safe throughout the night if they stay in that situation. Also important to note, when an officer responds to a domestic violence call in the state of Virginia, Virginia is a mandatory arrest state, meaning if they determine that domestic violence has occurred, they are to take the person who is the perpetrator, which is good and bad, right? Because the law was enacted to protect survivors and victims, right? So a lot of times victims or survivors will recant or take it back, or, you know, be threatened or have a high level of fear to where they say, like, you know, nothing happened, it's okay, I'm fine. And then if we have the officer that kind of has the discretion to say, like, no, you know, gonna take the aggressor away, where it does become a little tricky is sometimes we've seen that the victim is being found as the perpetrator or the aggressor, and the victim is the one that is detained. So that is a possibility, but that's never something that we want, which again is why the training is so important, so they can kind of determine what has really occurred. So who to call and what to expect. So what we're really here for, right? No wrong door. So when we came up with the no wrong door, again, that came out of our response committee. And really the whole idea is wherever somebody goes for starts for services is the right place. So if I call 911, but I'm really looking to go to Inova Facts and get a fact exam, that's the right place, right? The idea is that they'll get a warm handoff to where they really want to be or the services that they really are seeking. So everybody is kind of on the same page. Again, why it's so important to have a coordinated community response. So I know that, you know, I can just call Doorways and I can have an advocate come. I forgot to mention that. Doorways has a hospital accompaniment advocacy program where they will have an advocate come to the hospital, wait and sit and go through the comprehensive exam with the victim or survivor. So they don't have to go through it alone. A lot of times after someone is first assaulted, they really are not wanting to, they're not ready to tell a loved one. They really don't want to share that. So to kind of have a stranger, which would seem opposite, right? Like, I don't want to tell a stranger this. It actually is more comforting. So that they do offer that, which I think is really beautiful. And a lot of times they don't even want them to say anything. Just sit here and hold my hand and that's enough. But it really is beautiful that they're able to help and support in that way. So this, Caroline, I'll send this over so you'll have it to share out. But this links to our No Wrong Door Guide. The brochures also talk about our No Wrong Door Guide, and I don't think it's in here, but I think I brought them. I think they're in here somewhere, but I have wallet cards. Yes, they are in here. Thanks. Little wallet cards so you can keep them in your wallet, and the QR code links to the No Wrong Door Guide. I think it's like maybe 13 or 15 pages, and it's all the resources in Arlington County when it comes to intimate partner violence. So kind of at your fingertips, and especially, you know, like I always like to say, you might not have experienced something, you might not be experiencing something, but you never know who in your life or your sphere of influence has, and to have it handy could really make the difference. So we talked a little bit about kind of ACPD's role, Doorways' role. We talked about fact exams. Just really quickly on safety planning, protective orders, and Doorways. Are folks familiar with the safety plan? Is that something? Okay. A safety plan is just what it says. It is a plan to keep someone safe. So safety planning, when you click on here, it'll take you to an online safety planning tool, which is very nice. So people can use it on their own. Advocates sometimes will use it and walk through during kind of a one-on-one with a client or survivor who wants to go through safety planning. So a lot of times we talk about planning to leave, right? So if somebody is preparing to leave at a harmful or an abusive relationship, what does that plan look like, right? How will I keep myself safe, my children safe, my pets safe? A lot of times we see an extreme escalation in lethality when someone plans to leave or when someone leaves, right? Because at that time, the person who is causing harm feels like they've lost power and control, which is the root of intimate partner and sexual violence. So they feel like they've lost that power and control and they'll do anything to get it back. So we say it's kind of like, hey, nothing is off limits. You know, I'm not trying to save face anymore. I'm going to do whatever it takes to continue to maintain that power and control. So do I need a to-go bag, right? And in that to-go bag, do I have important documents? Do I have some cash? Do maybe I have kind of, not a flip phone, but like a pay phone, right? So that it can't be tracked and I'm not using my cell phone or I'm having to leave that behind. Do I have a spare key? A lot of times we see people keeping their to-go bags at a safe person's home, right? Whether it's my sister or my friend, you know, when I get ready so that the person that's causing harm, they don't stumble upon the bag and then, you know, there's more violence. Also thinking about, you know, am I going to go get my kids from school? Are we going to leave when the person who is causing harm is at work? You know, if there's a protective order in place, you know, do I have copies of that in different places, like one in the car? So thinking through all those things. So again, a lot of people, when they think about safety planning, they think about when it's time to leave. But safety planning can actually be really beneficial when somebody is trying to stay safe while they're still there, right? So on average, it takes between 7 and 12 times for somebody will leave an abusive relationship for good. So what happens while they're staying, right? A lot of people, you know, they're just trying to maintain. So what are some things that will make it safer for me to say? What's my plan while I'm not just ready to leave? And we know that there's plenty of motivators and barriers when it comes to staying and when it comes to leaving. So survivors are really weighing the risk of, is it safer for me to leave or is it safer for me to stay right now? And what about my kids, right? And what is interesting is a lot of times the things that initially start off as barriers then become motivators, right? Like, I have to stay for my kids, you know, like they won't let me see the kids, but then it's like, no, it's safer if I take my kids because of all the harm that's happening. So sometimes we'll see it kind of flip on its head. Oh, and then Arlington Safe Havens, you can see that at the top, which is a really cool program. So they provide safe safe custody exchanges and safe visitations. The space is really beautiful. I actually saw it for this first time, maybe like, I'm so ashamed, maybe like 2 months ago, but it is a cool space. It's over at Sequoia Plaza. And, you know, if there is a protective order in place or if folks are just looking for a safe place for the visitation, right? Like, I don't want you to come to my home after I've experienced abuse, but I still have to, you know, provide visitation, or we have to switch off the kids. You can do that with the Safe Havens program. So they usually, when you're doing safe exchanges or even visitations, they use 2 different doors. So parent A may come in this door, parent B may come in that door, so the 2 shall never meet. Or sometimes they stagger the times, right? Like you come 15 minutes ahead and then you come 15 minutes later again, so that the 2 shall never meet. And there is security at the Sequoia Plaza, so they're there also in place, which is very nice. Safe Havens, you do not have to be court ordered to participate. You can call them up and tell them, you know, you'd like to participate in the program, and then you can have access to those services as well. Joanne Hamilton, who runs that program, is phenomenal, and she's all about, you know, kids and families. Like, that really is her jam, so it's a nice thing. So just really quickly on protective orders, in Virginia, this is our version of a restraining order. 3 different types of protective orders. You have an EPO, which is an emergency protective order, a PPO, which is a preliminary protective order, and then you have a permanent protective order. The emergency protective order lasts for at least 72 hours, and that's typically because those are typically issued, you know, like when I talked about the lethality assessment, right, late at night, you know, you might need one, and the officer who responds can issue that protective order. And sometimes it might happen, you know, like maybe it's a Friday and we're just trying to get you to Monday, you know, when the court's open or the magistrate's office opens. So those typically last about 72 hours. Preliminary protective orders last about 2 weeks or sometimes up until a month, so 30 days. And this is just like trying to get you to the court date, right? So like we need something that's going to last the court date. For the first 2, you do not need cooperation from or participation from the person who is causing harm or the abuser, those are typically, you fill out the application, at least for the preliminary. You really don't need one for the emergency or kind of like a brief one. But typically, again, ACPD will respond out and they will see that the violence has occurred. But the biggest thing when we're talking about protective orders is being able to prove threat and being able to prove bodily injury or harm, right? That it's going to happen or that it already has happened. So when you fill out the application, really being able to detail those things have happened. Because if you don't, you will not get the protective order, which makes it kind of tricky or it's disheartening for folks that are experiencing extreme, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, those things that you can't really prove, but they're happening as well. Or even like the financial abuse pieces, right? You're not going to get a protective order for those different forms, but really this is more about the physical violence. The permanent protective order, you do have to go to court for that one. So after we get through, let's say, we had the emergency protective order for the weekend. We went to the magistrate's office after the weekend was over. They gave us a 2-week protective order. Now it's time to go to court. This is where the person who's caused harm or the abuser, they will show up, right? So you will tell your side of the story about why you need the protective order to the judge. The abuser will tell their side of the story and the judge will decide whether or not a protective order will be issued. So again, the same thing, really going to court and being able to prove bodily injury or harm or a serious threat in order to receive that protective order. That one lasts up to 2 years or 2 years, and then you can have it renewed. But again, you'll still have to kind of prove that why you still need that protective order. The really cool thing about Arlington is not only can you add children to your protective order, you can add pets. So I think people really appreciate the ability to be able to add your pets. I don't have pets, but I know that people tend to treat their pets like family and it's really important to them. And again, when we talk about those barriers to leaving, I don't want to leave if I have to leave my pet. You can take the pet. And the same thing with doorways and their safe housing. They have a safe kennel. So you can also bring the pets if you go to safe housing. Questions about protective orders? And as you can see at the bottom, Doorways does have court advocates that will go to court with you and support through the protective order process. And in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, they have a victim witness program, and their court advocates there can also share information about protective orders and filling those out too. So we talked about pretty much all of these things when it comes to Doorways. The only 2 things that I want to uplift here that I didn't talk about is their Revive counseling program. They offer counseling. It says short-term here, but sometimes it can be long-term, just depending on the situation. It's not based off of income. There's no sliding scale. There's no fees. It's really based off of trauma. And they offer it for all ages and all genders. And they also offer group counseling, and they offer counseling in various languages. I do not know right now because they've had some shifts in staffing, but I know for sure that they offer counseling in Spanish, but I'm not sure what other languages they do have staff on hand that speak, but I do know that in addition, they use the language line so anyone can access counseling, but I do know that they offer it in-house with staff that speak several languages. Again, I just don't know which languages at the current moment. And then their mobile advocacy program is really cool. They provide case management. And what I like about that is they'll come to, obviously mobile, right? They'll come to the victim or survivor, but they also are doing some mobile advocacy, I believe, in schools, which I think is really cool. So just wanted to uplift and name that, again, like I said, we do have partners that sit at our table that are culturally specific service providers. So we have ECDC, so the Ethiopian Community Development Center, DVRP, Domestic Violence Resource Program, Ashiana, Northern Virginia Family Services, and their multicultural center, so NVFS, and then Lahindohio. So those are kind of our culturally specific services that kind of sit at the table or that we have access through, being situated in Arlington County. Talked about partnership a little bit earlier. And then just kind of our resource list. So we have this cool webpage. It's a sub page of our Project Peace page. And then it kind of links to the different services and the different partners throughout Arlington County, which again, they're all also detailed in our No Wrong Door guide and our initiative. Oh, sorry. It's just an extra slide. Okay, I'm done. Any other questions?
Very helpful.
Okay, and I could just like pass this around, or I can leave some, I don't know what's helpful or easier.
I don't know, what do you guys want? I definitely want a couple of cards if I can, the wallet.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would love one.
I would love a
card.
It's your time to shine.
You have a good assistant.
Oh, you don't know half of it.
Was it 2-3 years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for COVID, yeah.
he tables a lot.
Yeah.
With me to table.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. The comprehensive resource gathering, I think, by itself is so helpful.
Oh, yeah, I.
Like
all in
having-
one space, centralized, yeah.
I need a Spanish one.
And then, when Project Peace regularly brings all these providers together so that everyone knows what everyone else is doing, so that, like you said, you're not taking the ball and like in the corner by yourself.
Mhm.
Not that anyone, there's not enough resources and people really be selfish about it, this isn't profit driven or anything like that, but it's just capacity and being busy and knowing that everyone else, is there.
For sure.
And being able to point to your colleagues and partners is way better than when we started 120 then.
Agreed. Does anyone want any, this is about our sexual violence services. I don't know if folks want that as well.
So what about other organizations like yours around the state? Are there, and do you ever coordinate that together?
Sure. So not every jurisdiction, especially in Northern Virginia, has a coordinated community response or CCR, but they all have a direct service provider. So essentially they all have a doorways. So folks are able to access services that way. A lot of them are dual programs, meaning that they provide services for sexual assault and domestic violence. Some of them have them separate. So they might just provide services for sexual violence and you go somewhere else for domestic violence. But again, a lot of them are dual programs, which is nice. So they keep it all together. And we actually for Northern Virginia, we have a Northern Virginia task force. So all the programs kind of get together. I believe is it monthly or bi-monthly? But they have meetings. We talk about the different trends that are happening. We talk about different resources. We talk about where there may be gaps. It's didactic. So usually during those meetings, there's a presentation. So we can kind of all stay kind of abreast on what's happening. So that's really nice to connect. And again, like break down some of those silos. So they're working together. And then Virginia has a great coalition. So the Virginia Action Alliance is the state coalition against sexual and domestic violence. And they're phenomenal. They're always offering trainings. They have their own hotline as well. They offer technical assistance and capacity building to different localities. So yeah, they're great.
I would think high schools might be a good arena to introduce all this. Do you ever go to school?
Yes, I do. I am a one-person show. So, except when my sidekick joins me. So I don't really have the capacity to be in all the schools all the time. So I really work on capacity building. So where I spend my efforts in the schools is I train the health and PE teachers. So like I've developed curricula for them. I do their professional development so that they're getting some of these skills and they can go in the classroom and do it. So I will do, I'll model. So I might come in and I might model a session of what it will look like for the teachers, or I may come in as a guest speaker, but I can't go to every single classroom, unfortunately, or I try to do bigger things. So like, for example, Yorktown, they have a SASA club, which is Students Against Sexual Assault. And, I've worked with SASA before and putting on like a sexual assault prevention assembly during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, right? So we're getting at a lot of the students, but we're also allowing it to be student-led and student-guided. We're just there, like providing the support. I'm providing panelists to kind of talk, during their assembly, so things like that.
I went to a WLPTA meeting one time where I don't think it was you, but somebody from Doorways talked, and it was really like eye-opening.
That's why I would think it would.
No, I mean, not Doorways, Project Peace.
It might have been Candace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
She went up. No, she's working under Anita now. Yeah, she's in the director's office. Mhm.
It was all, I just remember they had this whole thing about, because it was geared towards the parents. It was talking about we need to model enthusiastic consent. So I came home with my husband, was like, so like, if we're having sex, we need to both be like enthusiastic about it. Just
Yeah.
so you know.
No, I always say that, right? Like, It's like if I say like you hit the lottery, like you're like yes, like right, and that's how you want to feel about
That is
consent.
not something we were taught.
I know.
It was good. It was
Yeah,
good.
and I forgot them. I told my son in the car we have these cool little stress relievers, and they look like French fries now. So just modeling off the fries model of consent, right? Freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific.
Yeah.
So like fries, it spells it out, and I have these pull up, but I didn't bring them. But I'll give them to you later, Caroline, so y'all can have this. Yeah,
One of my kids quoted that back to me at some point.
Nice.
I was like,
love
okay.
that. Other questions? for
Yes,
me?
I love the idea of teaching the others to fish, like going to the schools and providing like SASA with
Yeah.
resources and providing
Yeah.
teachers with resources so they can then, because yeah,
Yeah.
you're one show, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
fishing.
Did you have that in PE?
But I mean,
I
kids
had
are my
that.
jam.
Well, I mean, not
Like,
used
like-
to it, but I had like teachers teach that, yeah, like health teachers.
Nice.
So it is.
Were you at Yorktown?
No, I'm at W now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Like them. I mean, I like them all.
Yeah.
Did you have something you wanted to share with the group? It's your time to shine.
Anybody want to kiss?
Did you have something you wanted to say before that?
Wait,
Why?
what?
Happy month, have to celebrate women that help us all our daily lives.
Do you want to give everyone kisses now?
Yeah, I can give you all the kisses.
Oh,
We believe in enthusiastic consent here, right?
that's right. Actually, you raised your son right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Thank you. Very literal.
You're a rock
And I
star.
know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm good on the kids, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very odd. I'm sorry, did I?
Okay.
So you're really young. I'm very first reaction. So much.
Mhm.
Do they talk with you? I mean, never.
I don't like them.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, they teach a little. Sometimes it intersects and they do a little bit. But we've been trying to find ways where we can work with the teen health clinic. Yeah, and partnering some of that information. So it was really cool. Actually, last Friday night, a church reached out and I did a teen lock-in. So they were having a lock-in. So they had the teen health clinic come and talk about their services. And then after I talked about healthy relationships. So being able to kind of like pair in the community and different ways like that has been really, really nice. But I know in Alexandria, because you know, they just have one high school, but they just have one. It's really cool because they have a teen health clinic inside the high school. So they have a nurse, like the nurse's office, but they also have a teen clinic. So they like offer contraceptive, you know, yeah, and educational. And you can just like make an appointment while you're at school, which is awesome, right? But Arlington, you know, like they don't, we haven't gotten there yet, which, you know, I would love if they could, you know, but their teen clinic, you know, they offer it inside the fruit and Sequoia One Plaza. So, you know, kids will have to come to it and they only have certain hours, which I mean, it's nice that they have a teen clinic, but I would love if like it's on your campus and you can just like go, you know, would be really nice.
Yeah. That would be really rough.
Oh. There is an issue like the bond, non-binary.
Yeah, yeah. So
Where?
yeah, so I actually do a training, it's called Safe Zone, like an LGBTQ plus one-on-one training, which has been like, people love it, and I actually love to do that too. But, you know, even when I'm working with, the health teachers, right, we talk about that, right? So a lot of this work is typically gendered, like, oh, you've got a boyfriend, you've got a girlfriend, what's a healthy relationship look like? But when people identify as gender fluid or non-binary, what does it look like too? And I always tell people, you know, when we're talking about people that have complex identities, or, I mean, we all have multiple identities, everything intersects, but really getting people to understand that when you have complex identities, you are at a risk for, you're at a higher risk for harm, right? So when someone identifies as queer,
Right.
and then they're also a person of color, and they're also a teen, and then, you know, what are their chances for being in an abusive relationship, right? So really thinking about that, and then, you know, have maybe they're a lesbian couple in their team, you know, like, oh, they're just girls fighting. They're in a relationship and this is intimate partner violence, right? So, you know, look at it differently, right? So leading with curiosity, making assumptions of so I can go on for days.
Yeah, it's okay if you're looking at high school.
Yeah.
I didn't go that far. This is fine.
So it's, we're having a feeling.
Right, but even now, like, we're having to start. Because by the time you get to high school, it's too late, right? Starting, so they're full-blown relationships in middle school and they've already started.
Hey guys, I have some updates, for Women's History Month stuff, and then in Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I can be quick, and since it's a hot mess, I'll
It is.
put all this in an email, so you don't have to rely on that.
Yeah.
Fast talking, Southern draw. Usually with any dates and notes. What is today's date? The 12th. So, thank you, and y'all are welcome to stay.
so much.
But let's catch up. She has
Okay. Yeah, we have school tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
And thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you for the chocolate.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for the kisses.
Really needed the chocolate. That's what I was missing today. Okay, so I've been attending the, Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month Committee planning meetings. And I think it's organized by Project Peace. And so I've attended two of the past three, and they're just trying to get everybody coordinated around activities and especially celebrating the 25th anniversary of Project Peace. So as you guys know, we decided to give Project Peace a sort of a organization achievement award at Women Division celebrating their 25th anniversary. So Janine's reached out to LaToya, who's now the head of Project Peace that actually works with, to do the video and that kind of stuff. And LaToya will be there at the evening at our event to accept the award. And that's sort of the kickoff for them for their month-long celebration. And their event, their actual event is going to be at Lover Run on the date that's written down somewhere. Again, I'll probably send an email to you guys. It's in April, I think. Yeah. And Barbara Cole is going to be there for that. She was one of the, she was on the county board when Project Peace was founded and created. And I had to acknowledge on the phone that day because they were saying the meeting like, oh yeah, and it's neat because Barbara Favola was a board member back then, and now she's a senator. And most people didn't know that. I was like, actually, she appointed me to the commission back then, 25 years ago. Anyway, so so yeah, small world there. And so they're doing a lot time capsule kind of stuff, like trying to find out who was around and involved. And they recognized that the commission was integral in standing up Project Peace. And I offered them, I sent over the link that we did with the roster research through the minutes and stuff to help them identify names. I shared that so they could maybe fast track some of their research. But they're just trying to pull together any artifacts and things to kind of celebrate Project Peace. And I told them anything that the commission had available, we'd certainly share it. And there definitely was in our historical research of the minutes when we were doing our anniversary notations about Project Peace stuff. So that's all in there for them. Again, I'll send that date. We should all try and attend if we can. That I'm going off track. So the other activities that that we've been thinking about for Sexual Assault Awareness Month is like Teal Out Day and Denim Day. Again, I'll put those notes for you guys. So they have subcommittees, and they're also working on a clothesline project, which is kind of a classic thing during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, where people decorate T-shirts with messaging and stuff, and then those T-shirts are displayed. I think Doorway said that they had a stockpile of them from past events. I think I did at one point too, from the rally, but that could be something that we participate in individually or as a group. Those installations I think are going to be at libraries. Again, I'll grab the notes offline and share them with you
Yeah,
guys.
there's a bunch of Fairfax County like women's history events at different libraries. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, I remember from Arlington.
yeah. Okay.
And then they also put together, they're going to do at the libraries in Arlington, you know, they do each month, like Black History Month, they have sections that highlight books, but they have recommended reading lists. And I have that. I'll put all this in a nice neat package for you guys. And then they've gotten the library to order certain books that they recommended too, so they can have those included with the recommendations. So lots of energy and activities going around that are being pulled together by all these groups. And so I think we meet one more time before April starts. And so for Take Back the Night, that's obviously an event that's included. The stars have aligned this year to put Take Back the Night on the last day of the month. So we have a full 30 days of April to plan, which I will use every one of because let's see what happened first. Arlington Plaza, which is where we've had the event successfully the past few years, turns out wasn't available when I went to go submit my special event permit application. Yeah, they're doing construction to widen the sidewalks and stuff. Anyway, so not ideal. Glad I asked. But on this sexual assault committee planning meeting, someone recommended, because I was having, that morning I just found out, so I was having a little bit. And someone recommended this space out here, the Clarendon Plaza area, which, or Courthouse Plaza area that I hadn't considered. I've been in touch with the site manager and his assistant, and they gave the go-ahead. I wrote a proposal. Lots of things that are ideal about this location.
Metro.
Yeah, accessible, foot traffic, the parking lot is right there. It is a bigger, like tonight I came out from work, it's way bigger than I even remembered. Flexible space. And then they even have storage on site. So if I needed to bring things over the day of or the day before, they have a place where they can lock up chairs and tables and things for ease of accessibility. It almost sounds too perfect. The site manager also said that they'll do promotion of the event on their internal virtual boards and stuff like that with tenants. So I think we should still stick with the plan we can of trying to get out in this community weekends ahead of time, including, I think there'll be a farmer's market starting soon. I think they usually start in April when the weather's nicer. There's ways to get flyers and information out ahead of time. So I think doing that on the ground here will be great. And then the biggest news I have is that I reached out to someone kind of blindly about a guest speaker. And this turned out perfect. He said yes. His name is Stephen Snyder Hill. And I think I told you guys at the retreat that I'd recently watched Surviving Ohio State. Has anybody watched it? Now you'll have homework. It was on HBO Max. I think it launched in 25. And Ohio State, they uncovered sexual assault scandal that had been going on for, I think, 30 years by a head doctor of athletic position. Yeah, the cases are ongoing.
Yeah.
And it affected, I think, entirely, at least 200 plus male athletes, wrestlers, ice hockey players, football players, fencers, and nothing was done. You won't be surprised when you watch it to learn that there's well-known politicians who have managed to deny any liability. Jim Jordan was an assistant coach of the wrestling team when a lot of these allegations were brought forward by some of the players and nothing was done. He still denies any awareness. Anyway, the film really gripped me because, I've doing this work for so long. I know how badly women victims are treated, especially if there's alcohol involved or consensual sex at any time. And then saw just how badly men can be treated and shamed. Being told, like, how could you, a 200-pound wrestler, be assaulted by this skinny doctor man and not, punch him in the head. And anyway, so it's I think it was a really remarkable film. I highly recommend you watch it if you can tolerate it. Stephen Hill was actually a student who went for, he had a lump in his chest, and he went to the Student Health Center to get help, and he was assaulted by Dr. Strauss. He complained to the school, and they had a meeting, and then he asked for the administrators to provide him with a letter saying that Dr. Strauss had not assaulted anyone else, and that there weren't any existing complaints, and that was what he would accept to move forward. And they provided that letter, which was a blatant lie because they got a complaint just weeks before. Plus all these athletes whose truths hadn't come out yet. Anyway, so don't know if he's essentially the original whistleblower, but in the timeline of things, he was. He also is well known for his work with gay rights and he was in the military during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and he also Rick Santorum, I guess. It was a presidential debate. He was a candidate in Santorum about food. I don't remember any of this, but Snyderfeld asked a question during the debate. He was in full uniform. He was asking about gays being allowed to marry, and Stephen was booed. And then Barack Obama eventually endorsed his messaging about anyway. So a lot of his advocacy work, most recently, has been around gay marriage. So he and his partner Josh are going to come and speak. He also does TED Talks about trusting the power of your voice, which I think is just a perfect tagline for what Take Back the Night does. Anyway, so he's a round speaker. He's not charging any fees. I told him that I would try and help with their travel costs. They're coming in from Ohio. He said they're actually excited because they got married in Congressional Park, somewhere in DC, way back in the day. So they were going to revisit their old stomping grounds while they're here. So that'll be, but I literally thought I was talking to a chat bot online on a message page about the survivors of Ohio State. And it was Josh, Stephen's husband, is the administrator for the website. And I'm I was just trying to get in touch with someone maybe about a speaking thing. And he's like, hi, I'm Josh. I'm Stephen's husband. How can I help? I was like, what's up, dude? No, we switched over to text messaging.
Want to kiss?
Yeah. He was like, we'll talk about it tonight. We'll get back to you. And they got back quickly. And it's sort of, yeah, what could possibly go wrong? This could go wrong. This is my penance for having other things go right. So all of that for Take Back the Night is coming together. Hopefully before spring break-ish time, so right after the Women of Vision event, well, definitely before, because I want to have something that we can hand out at that event. I'll have some official flyers and information about Stephen and the event and stuff so that people can help promote right after we do Women of Vision.
Caroline, do you know if Stephen ever spoke at Penn State because they had that infamous issue?
Yeah, so did Michigan State. I don't know. I know that he was invited to speak at Ohio State, some 1,000 students. I don't know. I haven't read completely on it. I did just order his book though. It's waiting for me to read now. I'm excited to meet him. He's well spoken too. And Ashley and I have been talking about reaching out to more men and boys, not just as allies and advocates, but also because we sort of left them out, right? These guys, in the documentary, there's a referee, an adult male referee who was at a wrestling event and then showered afterwards and was assaulted by this doctor. And he talks about how he was just so stunned in the moment, even thought to himself, why didn't I just punch the guy, right? But anytime you've ever experienced this, even a comment someone makes and afterwards you're I should have said something the other. I'm so shocked when these things happen. And your defenses aren't right, and however you respond and stay safe is the right response. But the referee's story really got to me as well. So anyway, I think you got to do a better job helping boys and men recognize right and wrong and find some power to speak up when things happen. Not to the exclusion of women, of course, but I think there's a good opportunity here.
If I could interject, this really ties into what's happening, not to get into politics, but the ultra-right, the groupers, you probably all read about them, Fuentes, and there's another man who's even more right-wing, and they're boring them, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm attending that March 27th Fairfax breakfast. Are you going to that?
There's that too. That was the other update.
Yeah.
Actually,
Are you going, Marguerite, to the March 27th Fairfax Mission breakfast?
I don't think I'm gonna be able to make that one.
Okay, I'm gonna, I already requested the morning off, so if you want to carpool.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet because I just got it, but they sent the run of show for that March 26th, the morning after.
It's the Friday, right? I think it's 2 days after.
I think
We're on Wednesday and it's Friday.
I thought it was Thursday.
27th, I think it's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
I could have sworn it was 26. Did you know it's on the 27th? What? Sweet 16, NCAA. I got tickets.
The women's?
No, friends. Sorry. Okay, that was my rambling updates. Again, I promise to put all of this in notes so you guys have a good reference for it.
All right, so one final question, this late date, are we asking Senator Favola for a sponsorship? Or do we just want to invite her? I mean, I usually do a combo ask, plus
For Women's
please be
Vision?
there, yeah. I mean, we're short on sponsors, right?
I mean, I think if Janine was on, she would say the more sponsors, the better. I think it does help that and you can frame it as this, that we're recognizing Project B's special award. It's going to kick off their 25th anniversary season. We'd love to have her there.
But I agree with Caroline, given her role in creation of Project Peace, that we ask her to sponsor, because we're giving them an organization award.
I had really hoped that more school board members would respond, since we are honoring one APS employee and one education, professional.
Did you point that out?
Yes, and when I saw Bethany at an event, she was like, I know all three of those people, they're amazing, but she didn't respond to my email, and the only one who responded to my email was like, oh, sorry, I'm not in town. So if anyone else has school board.
Meg Tasillo, who I'm friends with at AAUW, she was like #2 superintendent of schools. She knows all the women there. She gave money. I think she's one of the sponsors. And
I know all the school board members, but they haven't responded. I mean, it's easy for them to just not respond.
Can you
So
text them?
I don't have Bethany's number.
I just know me
and
and how I get behind my emails and I get
Yeah.
intimidated.
Yeah. I can poke around. Zariah responded, and I can say, would you mind letting we'd love to have at least one. I think it would be nice. Okay. Yeah, so the only ones I heard back from were Matt, who's on the ballot, basically no opposition, and Parissa. And she apologized for not being able to get more, but she hasn't been fundraising because of everything going.
So she's definitely coming.
No, but she's definitely sponsoring.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the spin you give the school board people, is that we're recognizing someone's role.
Yeah.
It was really great. No one was there.
I did, but I can push a little more. Okay.
Thanks for doing that, Barbara.
And I didn't hear back from JD. Maybe I'll text him actually.
Do they use LinkedIn? Any of them? Because of
Not for, Zariah does. But no, not, because many of them have jobs. Like school board members only make $25,000 for being on the school board. So it's not paying your rent in Arlington.
Right, sure.
So they have to sort of keep a firewall.
That's what I thought.
Before we close or wrap, Denise, did you want to say anything? I know you didn't come for that reason, but
No.
a great opportunity to hear about Zonta and some of the stuff you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, so Zonta is a international organization that looks to build a better world for women and girls through service and advocacy. One of the big things that we spearheaded here in Virginia was ending child marriage. So thanks to Lisa Sales and our friends in the Virginia legislature, there's no child marriage in the state of Virginia.
Which apparently just happened.
I think like a year ago too.
Yeah.
And,
Recently.
only 16
amazing.
states outlaw child marriage. We heard from some child marriage survivors and it just broke our hearts. The cycle of abuse, poverty, economic dependence, lack of education, the isolation. And we thought we can speak up for these ladies. And so then we ended it in DC. There's some loopholes in Maryland that we hope to close soon. And so we've been working on this nationwide. We're working on California. We have some opposition from the ACLU and Planned Parenthood. And there is no minimum age to marry in California. So legally a 3-year-old could marry a 72-year-old.
Wait, why
Sounds like-
Planned Parenthood?
They think that the girls should have autonomy and make their own choices. We also are working on climate justice, violence against women, and education, STEM promotion. So those are some of the big programs that we're working on.
How long have you been in existence?
Oh, the organization has been around since 1919. They were one of the organizations that were helping get the right to vote. We're also working on the Equal Rights Amendment, which Virginia was the last state to ratify. We're more well known in Europe than we are in the United States. So we're trying to let people know who we are and that we're here.
Awesome. Do you have any cards on you?
We do not.
Well, I do have
Barbara has
one
mine.
other question.
I'll talk to you.
Where are we on Arlington, like feedback on the Arlington County budget? I did read it. There's nothing. I mean, the good news is they're not really cutting anything women specific, but so do we just want to push back on the tampons in the bathrooms? Which
Yes.
still aren't there.
Where are we on the budget? There's a presentation. I can't.
Yeah, I looked through it, but it's,
We have a,
yeah,
because you weren't here for the last meeting, right?
I was,
Okay.
yeah.
When did we talk about this? There's a presentation on next date, where the county manager will present the budget, and that kicks off kind of the consultation.
I think he already did that.
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago.
That happened, and I did go in and watch and looked at the budget, and
Other dates were, Courtney, do you happen to have it in front of you?
no, that definitely already happened. It was, and then, so the time for us to go and make our case has not yet happened.
April 8th,
Is that when we go?
I think so.
Right, okay, yeah. So the the part that you're talking about when the board authorizes hearings and all of that. So yeah, it's been, so it's out there, the budget. And then in April, thank you, the 8th is when our presentation
It's
is.
before our next meeting,
Oh, fantastic.
I think, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, April, you have a lot going on. Yeah, it is. It's the day before, which is always like how it works. It's always like the day before, or the day of. Anyway, I did look through the budget. I mean, the gist is, they're cutting staff. And the big things they're cutting, which are not specifically impacting women, are ending the gymnastics program, which some people are definitely up in arms about, and closing the Cherrydale Library.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I read about it.
Yeah, so, but there was nothing in there that specifically targets women, so my thinking would be we just need to keep pushing on the tampons and, make it I think most people know, but so Arlington County does not offer free menstrual products in like county facilities like this. And so we've been pushing for that. And there was a line item in the budget to retrofit machines, like the libraries, to retrofit machines to make stuff free. But it keeps not happening. So it's like, bro, what's the holdup? It's not. It's
Unbelievable.
I mean, the same thing happened with them in the school bathrooms. It like took forever and ever. And then, okay, now they're finally in there. So I would say we keep pushing that. My daughter's calling me.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have, we didn't have it agenda tonight because I couldn't see today. Lisa, Grace, and Arbora are the policy and research department
Yeah,
responsible for
that's
developing.
Lisa.
Okay. Do you guys want to look at what we put together last year? Combine that with your knowledge of what you saw for this year and.
Sure. Is that okay? So let's coordinate. Yeah. All right. But you're to go and talk.
Yeah, I've already told
Okay.
them.
Barbara, may I ask one more question about WOV sponsorships? Given that we're doing the organization recognition for Project Peace, is that reason enough for you to do just a cold email to like Congressman Byer, Delegate
I am
Hope?
not the person to contact Buyer.
Okay,
He doesn't like me.
okay. How about Hope
I
and the other
support
delegates?
his challenger. Somebody should, and somebody should also contact all the people challenging him in the primary. There's like 3. They're all men, but someone should contact his office, but it's not gonna be me.
How about the delegates, Hope and the other person?
They're not on the ballot this year. So I sent out my usual email and
Okay.
I haven't gotten back the responses I usually do. I was waiting on Favola, but I will reach out to her.
Okay.
Yeah, but somebody should contact everyone running for Congress in our district
Could you maybe send the email to maybe Marguerite or somebody
that I sent.
that you sent?
Sure.
And then we can use it to hit the people you didn't hit. And then who was it? Just the members?
Well, Janine has a spreadsheet. I contacted all the school board members and all the county board members and Parissa, and now I'll do Barbara Favola. And I did do Hope because he's my delegate. I didn't do everyone like Adele and the others, but they're not on the ballot. So but the congressional is on the ballot. So somebody should reach out to those people who are running in the primary for Congress.
And sorry, those are all tracked in the spreadsheet that Janine has.
I don't know. I have not, in all full disclosure, opened the spreadsheet.
We just want to double dip if that's where we need to go to see the.
I doubt if anyone had contacted them, it would have maybe been Grace. I know she said, but the thing is, we don't have very much luck like cold contacting, so it's better if it's somebody who has an in. But I will forward what I sent to you, Marguerite, or is there anyone else who feels like they would want to email?
I'm happy to help, but it would definitely be a full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if Grace will do it because she's part of like AYD, so she might know. So I'll also forward it to her. But I know that she was going out of town and like overwhelmed for some reason. Okay. What is it? Join us and help support Women of Vision on March 25th.
I actually did see Fire. I told him I was on the commission and he's like, I'm trying to put girls on the commission in this area. So
He gets it.
he gets it.
What, his daughter?
His daughters. And
They're like
Alexandria.
very grown up. They're not. But anyway.
They're always so good.
Yeah, how do you refer to your kids without?
Yeah.
Is there anything else for the go to the order?
Okay, so.
Oh, no.
And I apologize for having a non-existent sloppy agenda.
So who should I send it to? Marguerite? Gender?
Grace.
Okay, I'll separately reach out to Grace because I don't know. Oh, well, I'll just put her on this. But Grace would know who's running. I think she knows who's challenging Congressman Byer in the primary.
We got info for one of the candidates. Gary, somebody.
Yeah, there's some guy, Matt something. I've heard them, I've met 2 of them, but ask me their names and no, I don't know. Feel free to reach out.
Sure.
We're gonna have to leave a little bit early.
Now we're about to break. Thank you, Helen.
I know.
What?
You'll be able to.
And invite your friends, invite
Yeah,
your
I have a
mom,
lot of friends in Girl Scouts actually, so they showed up last
and
year.
invite your mom,
That's great.
Bye.
your siblings.
Just so you guys know. We plan on recognizing Helen at Women of Vision and not telling her plans.
Yeah.
Oh, should I text her mom?
Yeah, get with Janine. We talked about
Okay.
just doing like
Okay.
a special announcement, maybe giving her flowers or something like that.
That's sweet.
But she never had a formal position on the commission. It's the county, like at one point we had student members and that kind of speaker and when all that didn't happen, she stuck with it and came to all our meetings and participated. It was awesome.
She volunteered at the
The fair.
Fairly fair. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's
great.
going to college, she's going to Dartmouth.
I know, I heard
Which is
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we all do this for resume building or whatever,
Yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
without actually being formally recognized.
Right.
Can do this for resume building.
And our mother, is she in politics?
Yes. Right now she runs Fair Vote USA. I mean, I'm friendly with her.
But yeah, just making sure that she knows we're gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know her dad, but her dad is like a,
Tell her that we didn't tell Helen that. She
Okay,
knows that
yeah.
she's volunteering this morning.
so I'm gonna text her and Janine.
Cause if I was her mom, I'd be like, oh,
I sent
I know.
I guess I'm like the metro at around 4 a.m.
What?
No, and who's us?
how about no?
His buddies, I dislike the message. I think he'll get the picture.
Okay, Marguerite, I'm gonna close this up.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, take care.